I'm Dennis Winegar, and I represent clients in family law matters. Probably the majority of my cases deal with divorce. We are licensed in both New Jersey and Pennsylvania, so if it's a divorce matter in either state, we can help that client. The divorce is kind of broken up into three sections, or the way that I look at it is based on three broad areas. There's a custody and parenting time component, when there are children, of course, in the family. There's what we call an equitable distribution component, and that's basically how the assets and debts that were acquired during the marriage are split up between the parties. The court views them as a partnership, and that's the way that they address equitable distribution issues. And then usually the third component of a case has to do with support issues, whether it be child support, alimony, spousal support, things like that. Each of those components are approached maybe a little bit differently depending on the circumstances of that client's particular case. So if we have a situation where a client is seeking primary physical custody of the children, we'll have certain advice that we want the client to understand so that we can accomplish that goal. If the client recognizes that maybe the other parent is going to be the primary custodial parent, but yet wants to maximize the parenting time with the children, then that entails a different approach and perhaps a different strategy to accomplish those goals. As far as equitable distribution is concerned, like I said, it's a splitting up of the assets and debts that were acquired during the marriage, and a lot of that depends on what assets and debts we're talking about. Are there more assets than debts? Are there more debts than assets? Kind of in a broad general scheme, that's the first analysis that we have to do, and then decide what's the most functional way to divide these assets and debts. Parties sometimes come in with the misconception that you have to liquidate all of the assets and that all the debts have to be paid off before somebody gets divorced, and that's just not the case. I try to explain it as more of a balancing sheet analysis. We have a husband column and a wife column, and we can have 3 assets and 2 debts in the husband column and 4 assets and 1 debt in the wife's column. So long as the bottom of those columns are fairly equal, we have equitable distribution. As far as support, there's different kinds of support. Certainly child support that's paid depending upon the incomes of the parties. Then as far as the support between spouses, that's usually broken down by support when they're married versus support post-divorce. My clients will have goals as to what they want to achieve in their divorce or in their dispute with the parent of their children or their spouse. Sometimes my counsel has to actually deal with modifying their goals. Sometimes the goals are unrealistic, or sometimes the goals may not necessarily be in their children's best interest. So a lot of my time during my consultations with my clients is spent discussing overall, from an objective standpoint, what may be best for them.